I had a dream last night. It was the kind of dream that seems real right up to the point where you wake up. Some things were strange about it. Certain things were really strange about it. But it never occurred to me that it might not actually be happening. I'm still not prepared to say that it didn't. I'm not spiritual, and I don't really understand stuff like that. I just feel like I've been somewhere. Now I'm back. And I know something really happened when I woke up. And I think while I was asleep, too. I went to bed last night with a strange feeling. We all remember times when we felt like we were being watched. But this was more than that. I felt like there was someone there with me, but I couldn't keep from falling asleep. I don't exactly remember the beginning of the dream. The first thing I remember was starting at my house and walking. I was just walking down the road. All of my neighbors' houses were gone. I was just on a long, empty road, and there was no one around but me. I don't remember what I'd been doing at my house before, but I may have been there a while before I started walking. I just recall a strong feeling to walk. I felt okay walking down that road. It was cold and dark, and I felt a little lost. But I wasn't afraid, not like I had been in my room. I don't know how long I was on that road. It felt like a while. I mean, like days. But I never felt tired, and just kept walking. The road changed after a while. It was strange and nondescript the whole time, but eventually I reached a bend, then a fork in the road. When I reached the fork, I wasn't alone. A familiar voice called out to me from the side of the road. "It's good to see you," the voice whispered. "I'm just sorry to see you here." I turned to face the voice, knowing who I would see. It was an old friend from my childhood, someone I haven't seen in years. He looked just a little different from how I remembered, but not much. He was older than when I last saw him, obviously, but he seemed a few years younger than me somehow, even though we're supposed to be the same age. He was very pale, unbelievably white in fact, and he had deep circles around his eyes that were solid blue, just like his lips. "What are you doing here?" I asked. "I'm here to warn you," he replied. Naturally, I was all ears for this. "There's a man in your house right now," he explained. "What do you mean there's someone in my house? I was just there, I think. I didn't actually know how long ago I was there. I just wasn't sure how long I was walking." "You don't understand. He's really in your house right now." I had no idea what he was talking about, but I was curious. "Who is he?" "He's the cold man. He comes to people at night when they're afraid." "The cold man?" I'd never heard of anyone like that before. I wanted to know more, so I had to ask. "What does he do?" "He waits to be noticed. Then he makes his move." You know that chill you feel on your back when something really scares you? That's not nerves. That's him standing right behind you. "What for? What does he do once you notice him?" My friend looked down and away. He wouldn't answer that question. "Just don't let him in." "What do you mean?" "He can be close forever. He'll walk around your house at night and even stand in your room while you're asleep, like he is in yours right now. He can know where you are. He can even be looking right at you, but he won't find you unless you let him." "How does he find you? I mean, how do you let him in?" My friend looked to either side of the road. He was worried that someone might overhear. He leaned in very close and whispered, "If you see him, if you hear him, or if you start to feel suddenly very cold, don't move. Don't talk to him. Don't acknowledge him. Don't ever let him in." I don't understand. How do I get rid of him?" "You can't. Look, I'm out of time." "Out of time?" Not sure what he meant. My friend shook his head, his eyes wide and shivering. Off in the distance, I noticed a dark figure creeping up behind him, but something kept me from speaking. "My time is up. Just whatever you do, don't let him in. And whatever you do, don't answer it." Something pulled my friend to the darkness, and suddenly I couldn't see him anymore. Before I could follow after him, though, I was startled by a loud noise. I was sitting in my room, fully dressed with my shoes on. I could swear I wasn't dressed when I went to bed. My shoes and legs were covered in dust, and my feet were sore. I could hear a ringing right next to me. In the confusion of waking up from such a vivid dream, I didn't immediately recognize it. I was so cold. Then I looked down and saw my phone, the source of the ringing. Remembering my friend's words, I didn't answer. Eventually it stopped. The room was cold as ice. The feeling that I was being watched was strong, as it had been when I had fallen asleep. I could hear something moving inside my closet, but I dared not move. I just closed my eyes and waited. Eventually I heard footsteps walking away, still from in the closet. It was as if they were walking down some unseen hallway, though my closet is small and I couldn't see anything unusual. When the footsteps got far enough away, the cold lifted. He didn't get in this time. If my dream was true, if that thing in my closet was who I think it was, I must never let him in. I think he'll be back tonight, though. That's when he's supposed to come, as my friend told me. I don't know what happened to my friend, but I just hope people will remember this warning. If you start to feel cold while reading this, don't be alarmed. If you hear something in your house, just ignore it. You can't afford to let him find you. Don't let the cold man in.